Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to be here. Uh, as you mentioned, Amanda, I've been partnering and collaborating with Alana and Eve Wealth for a while now. They were actually a partner in our NFT membership. And so I'm super excited to be here. I'll try to keep this brief. My entry to Web3 started in 2017. It was really a side hobby. I started buying Bitcoin and Ethereum because I found the technology around it really interesting. And it wasn't until early 2021 where I hit that light bulb moment and I decided I wanted to go full time Web3. So I quit what I was doing in Web2 and joined Gitcoin's kernel fellowship. And at this point, I knew what I wanted to do in crypto. And as a user, there were two issues that I wanted to help fix. Number one, whenever I would chat with people about crypto who weren't already working in the space, I often got the feedback that the language around it was really intimidating. And as you all know, the lingo in crypto can feel like a gated community to newcomers. And so I wanted to work in changing the information pipeline. And number two, as a woman joining DAOs and these NFT groups, these spaces were often heavily male dominated. And so I wanted to create a community for women who were also interested in crypto and wanted to be a part of the conversation and wanted to learn and wanted to mentor and wanted to have a community of like-minded individuals to go through their crypto journeys with. So combine these two pillars. Met my co-founder, Juliet, at Kernel, met a few other amazing women. We started building, started as a passion project. We quickly realized that there was actually a need for this community. And so we kept growing from there. Our community is at a little bit over 26,000 people today, 80% of them identifying as women. During that time, we've created an NFT project that is a membership to an ecosystem of perks across Web3. We have a job board where we place women in Web3 roles, and we launch easily digestible educational content that we put out about once a week. We have a newsletter. And so, yeah, we've been focusing on those two missions, education and the empowerment of women in this new frontier. That's it.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Denise. And Lisa, would you like to tell us a bit more about Bad Bitch Empire?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Lisa Carmen Wang. I'm the founder and CEO of Bad Bitch Empire. And I define a bad bitch as a woman who unapologetically takes charge of her body, her boundaries, and her bank account. And through Bad Bitch Empire, we are a global investment collective building unapologetic worth and wealth for women. So a big part of that is education on everything from angel investing to crypto investing and what you need to do to diversify your portfolio. There's also, we have events, we have so many things coming up. We have something called the Bad Bitch Pitch. So if you're a female entrepreneur and you're looking to pitch for investment, we now have the opportunity to showcase women who are building companies that are creating exponential impact for women and the world. And so I'm just really passionate about helping women build up their bank accounts and do that through investing. A bit of my background is I'm a former USA national champion gymnast turned serial entrepreneur. My previous company built a community of over 20,000 female entrepreneurs and connected them to investment, helped women raise about 50 million in funding, and then that was acquired in 2019. And so I've been focusing for the last couple of years prior to building Bad Bitch Empire on executive coaching. So I work with female CEOs on everything from confidence to negotiation to getting connected to the right investors. And then I dove into the crypto space because I started advising companies on crypto companies on marketing and branding. After I became the head of brand at Republic, which is a $1 billion investment platform, we realized that a lot of the crypto companies that were male-led had no idea how to communicate to their audience with empathy. And so I think that's where I really started to see just how important women's voices would be, because as we all know, especially in the Web3 space, if you aren't truly connecting with your audience, if you aren't being authentic, if you aren't really understanding the needs of what it is that your users want, you can't create a collaborative future. And, at the end of the day, collaboration, transparency, those are the values of Web3 that are going to make it what it needs to become. So I'm really excited to be here and talk more to you guys about everything from empathy to investments.
Thank you so much, Lisa. And Olivia, passing on to you. I hope you guys are just like inspired listening to these people and how they're really empowering other people to also be leaders in this space. So Olivia, handing this off to you.
Yeah, great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me, and hello from across the pond. So I'm the founder of Crypto Dames. We're a female-based community in Copenhagen, in Denmark, in Europe. And really, I started it because once I got into the crypto space, I'm a marketer, by day. And once I got into the space of crypto and blockchain, I obviously saw that massive difference that we have from the ratio of men to women, not only from traditional finance, but now moving into crypto investing. There's a massive gap and it's got to change. And, I went searching for a lot of female communities. I'm also in the Surge community as well, crypto besties as well. And we just didn't have anything here in the Nordics, in Europe, in Denmark. And that kind of brought me to creating this female community in the Nordic countries, where women can find a safe space to have support, education, come into the crypto, blockchain, Web3 industry, and also just break down those barriers to entry, because as we know, there's a lot of barriers to entry coming into this industry. And I really want to break that down and say, anybody is welcome, anybody can come in, and it doesn't matter your background and experience or prior education, everybody has the chance to learn. So that's really what we do. We're educational. We're going to have some events up with some exciting companies in Denmark. There is some really exciting projects coming out of Europe. And so we're going to, have some free events for the community of women here to really get involved. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Olivia. And last, certainly not least, Sam, thank you so much for being here to represent Boys Club. Would love for you to share a bit more about yourself and all you guys have been building over there.
Absolutely. Hi, everybody. My name is Sam Stevens. I'm super excited to be here. I think this is my second Eve Wealth event, and this group just always knocks it out of the park. So thank you so much for having me here today. I am on the core team of Boys Club Crypto. We're a social DAO focused on advancing the goals of Web3 through education, through helping our community of builders in the space, and through pushing the boundaries of media and exploring new business models there. I personally lead the Product Guild along with my co-lead Anna, where we really recognized this budding community of builders inside of Boys Club. And through understanding what people were looking for and the kind of lonely struggles that they were facing, we said, you know what, we need to cultivate this. We need to lean in and rally the team to provide resources and support for folks along their builder's journey. So we host pitch workshops, we host office hours to connect with product folks, marketing folks, and VCs. We do educational workshops about how to build roadmaps, the right metrics to pick as you're working on building your company. Roundtable discussions are kind of bringing together a brain trust about the future of, we've done brands, we've done loyalty in Web3, and we'll do many, many more. And really just creating this space for folks who are building and this community. And then we also work with our DAO contributors to build products by Boys Club. So we have two upcoming launches. We've done 2 NFT builds. We have an upcoming launch around a NFT portfolio calculator tool, and then as well as a new media kind of product coming out towards the end of the year. So outside of Boys Club, I've spent the past couple of years working in the creator economy at Google, leading a YouTube product team that helps creators make money and build relationships directly with their fans. And at Google, I was a lead on the Women in Web3 community from day one, which was a small but mighty community inside of Google, where unfortunately the gender ratio there was really like 99% men. And so in talking to the community, we realized that folks who I identified as women just really didn't feel that confidence in this like super rapid fire group chat of people like talking about crypto and whatever. They didn't feel the confidence that they knew enough to hang with the boys club, right? And so I led our education initiatives and put together workshops and working sessions and learning cohorts to help onboard and teach folks in the space to really give them that confidence to participate and to hang. And so I actually just left my job at Google last week to go down the founder path and start my own Web3 company. And I'm really excited to see where that journey takes me.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sam. Sorry, there was a little bit of a delay on my end. But thank you all for sharing and just showing, how inspirational you all can be and how you can step into all these things. I think sometimes when people are going into Web3, there's so much going on. And like we've said repeatedly, it can feel a little overwhelming. There's so much technology, there's new protocols, there's all these different ways and things that you can dive into. And I think for us at Eve, we've always been like, it's really easier, right, to go farther together and to really just like uplift each other, to figure out how to collaborate, to really learn from each other without having any sort of, I'm an expert in this and there's nothing else that I need to learn, because I think that's the opposite of kind of the attitude you should have going into this space. But because there is all this stuff that is, kind of this future of technology, what is coming next, for all of you who are community builders, as you're building all of this stuff, like having this human side to everything that you're doing, how in each of your communities are you sort of empowering people to make sure they're impactful within the community, are able to, same as Sam was just saying, step into leadership roles themselves? Like, how can people kind of expect to be involved where, we don't all hit the peaks and valleys at the same time. So sometimes people are really looking for education versus they're looking for networking versus they want to sharpen up their skill set and understand how to maybe pivot from a career in Web 2 into Web 3. I'd love to hear you talk about how your community sort of support that, or the ways you sort of connect people and empower them. So throwing this back to you, Denise, because I know you all do such a good job with this, would love for each of you to take just like 2 to 3 minutes to talk about what that is. And as we said, for everyone who's just joining in, I saw a bunch more people join. If you have any follow-up questions we're not getting to in the chat, you're throwing them in there, please feel free to follow all of these really incredible people on Twitter, to follow up in DMs. Olivia, I don't know if that's actually your correct Twitter handle, so if it's not, please let me know and we'll make sure that gets put up somewhere. But sorry, Denise, I'll hand this over to you. I think I got cut off.
Awesome. Yeah. Great question. So there's a few answers here, but something that I deem to be incredibly powerful is building in public and being transparent. And it's something that Web3 has really given people the platform to sort of do. And so it's something that we've been doing since we started Surge, really. And building in public is key to establishing trust in your project and in your community. So whether that means open sourcing your code, or in our case, we write guides explaining the reasoning when developing our community, or when we launch initiatives. When we had our NFT project, we made sure to handhold our community from beginning to end. And so when you share these helpful tips and you share about your experience on what you've learned, your community feels like they're growing with you. Alana and Serge, Eve Wealth and Serge, are actually writing an article on investing right now and on syndicates, because it's a new area that we're starting to tap into. So sort of like building in public, growing with your community, sharing your findings, sharing your mistakes can be really powerful and can make people feel like they're a big part of it. I think the best way to build a community is to build according to their feedback, right? So like we run surveys a lot of the time, like what type of articles do you guys want to see more of? Because at the end of the day, you want to serve this community that you've built and you want to understand what their needs are and build according to that. And when you incorporate your community's feedback, you're also giving them ownership in the project, right? So everybody feels like they have a home and they have a voice. And aside from that, you sort of asked on how do we help connect people who want to do different things. As our numbers grow, we definitely have people that are interested in different things. And so we have some developers, we have some engineers, but I think there's a big misconception that you have to be technical to work in Web3, when that actually couldn't be further from the truth if Web3 is going to go mainstream. And so there's just about every role you can think of. We need marketers, designers, etc. And when we were building search and started really getting into, figuring out why there was such a big gap between men and women, we found out that only 5% of leadership roles in crypto are held by women. So we wanted to do something about it. We created the Surge job board as well as the Surge talent pool. We do it all in collaboration with Palette, but essentially it's just a place for organizations to hire women and increase the gender diversity within their organizations. So anybody can go and post a job listing, which is public, but then we have the Search talent pool, which is strictly for women and non-binary individuals. And we have top Web3 organizations and companies come in and hire talent from there. And it's been amazing because we've gotten women a lot of jobs through that. And we're really proud of that initiative. And we're always looking for more initiatives like that.
Great. Thank you so much, Denise. I always love like the soothing energy that you bring, because I feel like I'm very caffeinated right now. And but I just think you guys do such a great job of really helping people feel like they're settled and have like that next step forward. But passing this over to you, Lisa, like how, continuing on the same thing, like how are you sort of empowering people, like linking them together? Are there particular places you encourage people when they're first getting started and coming into the community to sort of be diving in with all of you?
Yeah, so I mean, what we do at the Bad Bitch Empire is the reason I started with even the definition is at the end of the day, it's being a bad bitch is an identity, and it's something that you can step into. And it's, you think about all those moments where, regardless of what industry you're in, where you've been undervalued, undermined, assumed as inferior, and you find yourself not speaking up for yourself in those male dominated spaces, and then kicking yourself later and wondering, why didn't I speak up? Why did I let someone mansplain me, bro-appropriate my idea and man-interrupt me? And so I think that it's just getting to that place where the women who are coming to Bad Bitch Empire, they may not even be interested in investing yet. They may not even be interested in crypto yet, but what they are interested in is leveling up and reaching a place of having full control of your body, your boundaries, your bank account, having that confidence to say, I can walk into any room and command my worth. And I think that that's what brings people together initially. And so what the resources that we have, first and foremost, there is the Bad Bitch Empire podcast, and that is bringing together women who are building empires of their own, who are talking about how they got to this mindset or this place where they found the courage within themselves to launch their empires, to rally their communities. I also share somewhat behind the scenes of what it's like to build the Bad Bitch Empire, which, as I think as many of the women on this panel know, and probably in the audience, it's not easy at all. And that is okay. But I think a lot of it is just being transparent, as Denise was saying, about the struggles, but also the triumphs of what you're going through, and not being afraid to celebrate the wins of yourself, the wins of the community. We do a number of events, around the country. Most recently, well, not most recently, we've done a few, but for example, at the Consensus Conference in Austin, we did the Bad Bitch Mansion. So it was unapologetic space for women in Web3, because as we know, a lot of these conferences, it sucks going to these sweaty bars where it smells like man. And I think it's just, those spaces aren't created for women. And so we wanted to create like a beautiful space that women could come to and actually, feel comfortable, feel empowered, and be able to network with each other outside the confines of just like a stuffy bar at the conference. We then hosted the Bad Bitch Empire Summer Soiree, where we brought together investors and entrepreneurs who are uplifting women. So I think it's really important to connect women who are building to women and allies who have capital capital to invest. And then this coming week, next Wednesday, we're doing a partnership with New York Fashion Week at the top of the World Trade Center. We're bringing together investors and entrepreneurs in the Web3 space who are focusing on female-led innovation and having those real conversations about how do women really showcase their strengths in everything from gaming to building the metaverse to, you know, really thinking through more of the future of inclusive spaces. And so I think it's a lot of it is having the conversation around the topics that typically people are afraid to talk about or even tiptoe around, like even just this idea of investing in women. And like a lot of times it feels like we apologize about bringing that up or saying unapologetically that investing in women is not just good for impact, it is a good financial decision. And here are all the stats that show why, and not, you know, and not diminishing that. And I think that is the thing that continues to propel this community forward is just everything around us in this world conspires to make us feel smaller, to make us feel less confident, to make us feel like we don't deserve to take up the space that we actually do. And so I think this continual reinforcement through the empire of it's okay to take up space, it's okay to ask for more is what continues to attract people into the Bad Bitch Empire.
Thank you so much, Lisa, and super excited to see how everything goes later for like World Trade Center, for all of the things that are exciting coming up. And then Olivia, I also was curious on your end how you sort of doing stuff. I know a lot of Crypto Dames has been like on Facebook in the beginning and things are continuing to evolve, but how are you sort of supporting everyone who's kind of taken in these steps? And there was someone who had DM'd me a question about even starting their own sort of community and kind of stepping into leadership within it. Is there any advice you would give for that if someone is wanting to take on maybe more responsibility in Web3 to collaborate or even starting their own community?
Yeah, sure. So obviously Crypto Dames is predominantly for women and minorities in the space who have no prior experience and have no prior knowledge about crypto, blockchain, Web3. A lot of the ladies that I have in the group, hence why a lot of us are on Facebook in a Facebook group, they're completely new to blockchain, completely new to crypto and even investing and even traditional investing. So it really is starting, you know, from the start, and we're going to get them to the finish line. And the way that I really connect with them the most is, you know, I think trust and transparency are two really important things when you're building a community. You know, you really need to make that trust that you are here to support. It's a safe space and everybody is going to support each other in the process. And it doesn't matter where you are in the process, there's always going to be someone there to support you. I think is really important. But also this transparency. So I think in blockchain and crypto and Web3 in general, because it does have that kind of very techie side to it, we sometimes might be quite quick to jump to the conclusion, if you're completely new to this space, that it's robots or AI sat behind a computer screen. So I think transparency is really important to put a face, you know, to the community. And I mean that as in the physical human face. So I do a lot of videos for my community. I'm always there. I'm showing I'm real. I'm a real person. I'm here to help. I'm here to support. This isn't just, some AI robot talking to you. Because a lot of people, when you're coming into the space and you're completely new, it can be very overwhelming. And I think a lot of that is to do with the way that blockchain crypto has used what we would say, more technical wording, where really it doesn't have to be like that. And that's again where when you create a safe space in the community, you can explain things, as Lisa mentioned, being mansplained or man interrupted. They tend to mansplain the space of blockchain and crypto, and it doesn't need to be. And they try to make it more complicated than it really is. So I think, again, taking language, make sure that the language that you use is very easy to understand for newcomers, is what we do in Crypto Dames. So a lot of that is educational from the beginning to the end, basics. And as we go along, we can get more advanced. But a lot of our community, they can jump in at any point that they feel comfortable with. And if they don't feel comfortable, they can always reach out and say, I'm struggling with this. Is there anybody who could help explain this a little bit better so I can come further with it? So, they're really important points to consider. And otherwise, I think if you were looking at creating a community, I think definitely look at what's around you. For example, I started in Surge, in the Discord channel in Surge. I also am a member of Crypto Besties, She256. And, I started in those communities first because they're great sources of inspiration. And to see what you guys are doing over there, it's just on another level. And I hoped that I could bring something like that here to Copenhagen, Denmark, to the Nordics, and create almost, a support network here where we can also have events, have meetups, have some events with some great protocols and projects that are coming out of Europe, because there's some really exciting stuff going on in Europe. And bring the girls, the ladies to those events so they can firsthand meet those businesses and projects. And hopefully give them a professional network as well if they want to move from Web 2 to Web 3. So we're really kind of covering the broad, from start to finish. But yeah, I would say look at what's out there, get some inspiration, make some good connections. I found this space to be so amazingly supportive. Everybody's so welcoming, so supportive. If you have a question, reach out. There'll be somebody there to answer you and help. And I would really just say, jump in, get involved, don't hold back, don't be afraid. And yeah, enjoy the ride.
Thank you so much, Olivia, and bringing back that human element to it. I think it's so important, and helps us feel like we're not alone in what we're going out to set out to make any sort of impact in. Sam, for you all at Boys Club, how are you sort of feeling about kind of scaling empathy, empowering people? How do you think that you all are going about that for someone who's just new coming into the community and trying to kind of make their way forward, figure out who to connect with?
Definitely. What Denise was saying about Surge really resonated with me, that it's a lot of trial and error, and it's a lot of throwing things out there into the community, and not only seeing what sticks, but actively asking folks what they're looking for and how we can be helpful. And that might mean something different for every individual. And that's why we try to optimize for breadth of offerings to meet people where they are. It might be like, super at the beginning of their journey where they're just kind of dabbling and want to understand, like, what is the merge? Why do we care about this? And it might be folks towards the other end of the spectrum who are actively building and being like, hey, how do I design my token economics, like, for this company that I'm building? And I think something that we really try to do at Boys Club is get to know members of the community, and learn what they're going through, learn where they are in their journey, and be a community who is actively reaching out to say, hey, I remember you were working on this, or I remember you were talking about this. Would this thing be helpful? Or I met this person, I think they would be like really powerful to be able to join, your network, or just have a conversation with, like, let me proactively reach out and help you. And I think that's so important for bringing more and more representative voices into the space. As someone who's building, software products for a decade, I know what it's like to have only a small perspective and worldview of folks who are building something, and how detrimental that is at a macro scale or at a global scale. As an example, and this is a little bit of a tangent, but like, before Google, I was a product director at Tinder, and I worked and started the international growth team, and learned very quickly through traveling and talking to people in the dating space around the world. Our vantage point from our office in Los Angeles is very different than how people think about dating in Brazil or Europe and whatnot. And so I think it's less about, like, I think bringing diverse voices into the space, into the Web3 space, is so imperative. And I love what Lisa is doing with Bad Bitch Empire, of making that be unapologetic, making that feel empowering. And, I think it's at the same time, there is a level of like exclusion that I think some of us may have unfortunately experienced, like in the Web3 space, feeling that we're not smart enough, feeling that we're not good enough, feeling that because of our gender identity, we are unqualified to be there. And so I think from the community perspective and empathy perspective, it's about creating safe spaces where people feel like they have a footing. They feel like, you know what, I'm not as unqualified as I've been made to feel. I'm not as dumb as I've been made to feel. I'm actually more powerful than I recognized. And I think that by building these spaces and these female-focused community, that's how we can say, hey, start here and then expand from there and go out into the world and be a strong, strong bad bitch.
Thank you so much, Sam, and thank you to all of our panelists. I could talk about community and nerd out about it all day, but I know we're going to be wrapping up, and I'm very respectful of that. You all have very full days the rest of your day as well, so thank you for being here. But just wanted to wrap it up with any sort of closing thoughts, new initiatives you might be launching you forgot to mention, how people can best get in touch with you. I know most people send them to their Twitter DMs, but any sort of closing thoughts? I'll throw it back to you, Denise, to start off.
Yeah. Wow. What everybody said has been really inspiring, and I'm super happy to have been a part of this. You all are doing such cool stuff. I'm super happy to hear that some of you are part of Surge. That's always great, and very validating that we're on the right track. Yeah, I mean, I put the links to our job board there. If there are any women that are looking for work in Web3, it's free to join. And so I'll go in and approve you myself. Even if you're not looking for a job, it's a good place to just network for a potential job opportunity later on, or just to meet other people. Our Discord community is open. My Twitter is here, so you can always DM me personally. We have a bunch of education for those that are looking to learn. I'll attach the link to our newsletter as well. And that really is the best way to just stay up to date with our initiatives, with other stuff going on in crypto. So yeah, we have a little bit of everything. So come say hi.
So I'm going to share a link right now if you are in New York City next week for New York Fashion Week, we are doing our Bad Bitch Empire event. So I've shared this link here. And a free access code, Bad Bitch VIP. So we have 30 more free spots. So anyone who's in New York, go check it out and sign up now. It's going to take place at noon. And so we're going to be talking about investing in female-led innovation. Separately, if you are an entrepreneur who is pitching for investment or looking for investment right now, we have extended our deadline for the Bad Bitch pitch till the end of the day tomorrow. So you can still apply to pitch our investment collective. And then just make sure you sign up for our newsletter, and we'll have podcasts coming out because we will be having more events coming up in September around how you can get involved in our upcoming investment initiatives.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been so great to connect with you all. I really hope to make it over to the US and Canada at some point in the future, because I've seen some of the events you guys have, and they look amazing, and I really want to join in. So hopefully we might get to meet in person one day. But otherwise, if you're in Copenhagen, if you're in Denmark, please do reach out to me. I will share the links to my LinkedIn profile. Please feel free to connect with me on there. And I'll also share Crypto Dame's Discord channel as well. But otherwise, for words of encouragement, I would definitely say, if you're starting off in the space, allow yourself the space to feel overwhelmed and allow yourself to have those feelings, because it will pass. You're strong. You can do this. You will learn. Everything takes time. Steve Jobs wasn't Steve Jobs when he was born. He had to go through education. He had to learn. He built Apple. He had failures, and then he succeeded, just the same as we all do. So just because you hit a roadblock and you're finding it really difficult, it's okay. Don't worry. You'll get over it and you will succeed.
I love Olivia's advice, and completely resonates with me in my own journey of it is so overwhelming at the beginning, and you just feel like, I don't even know where to start, just push through it. Like just push through it. Watch one more YouTube video, read one more article. Like it will start to click. It'll take time, but just like immerse yourself in all of this knowledge. Pick one direction that like is maybe interesting to you, and just go through it. Just push through it. It will start to click, I promise. And wanted to just share that the Boys Club has, I think we all have fantastic newsletters, and I love hearing that how much all of the incredible people on this call are doing and just creating resources. So also for Boys Club, sign up for our newsletter on our website, follow us on TikTok, follow us on Instagram and Twitter. It's fun. We make fun content. We try to make this stuff like, accessible and not like so heady. And we just did launch our grants program 2 days ago. So if you are building in the space and looking for a grant, the link to that is on our Twitter now as well.
Denise, Lisa, Olivia, Sam, thank you so much for being here and dedicating some of your time to helping the next generation of hopefully more community builders and leaders get started as they keep diving into Web3, connecting with each other and collaborating. So we're wishing you the best, sending you some spare energy for the rest of the day, wherever in the world you might be.